Anyway, Senator Ted Cruz and his family flew to Cancun, Mexico, he confirmed in a statement to CNN, as a winter disaster in his home state left millions without power of water. Okay, I want to be clear. It isn't just this. It isn't like, shit, there's no power and water. It's people are dying. There was a man who fell outside, was stuck outside, couldn't get back in, and he froze to death. There's people that are turning on their cars to stay warm in their garages, and they die from inhaling carbon dioxide, from carbon dioxide poisoning. Women and children who have died from that. I think it's like 11 dead as of right now, probably increased. So it's people are literally freezing to death. People without electricity and without water. And this was not pre-planned, and he decided to go to Cancun, Mexico. Carbon monoxide. Okay, yes, there you go. 12? 12, okay. Cruz, a Texas Republican, said in a statement that he flew down for a night because his daughter asked to take a trip with friends. With school canceled for the week, our girls asked to take a trip with friends. Wanting to be a good dad, I flew down with them last night, and I'm flying back this afternoon. In the statement, my staff and I are in constant communication with state and local leaders to get to the bottom of what happened in Texas. We want our power back, our water on, and our homes warm. My team and I will continue using all resources to keep Texas informed and safe. Cruz was back in Houston later Thursday, arriving at George Bush International Airport, according to a source who was on the flight with him. Cruz tested negative for COVID-19 before returning. His statement comes hour after multiple Twitter users posted photos showing Cruz and his family at Houston's airport and aboard a flight bound for Cancun, Mexico. A source familiar with the situation told CNN that some of the senator's senior aides did not know he flew down to Mexico until the pictures appeared on social media and inquiries started coming into the office. It is one of the reasons they weren't ready with an explanation for many hours. The trip was immediately criticized, including by Texas State Rep Jean Wu, a Democrat representing Southwest Houston, who tweeted a photo of Cruz aboard the flight saying Cruz was flying south while the state was freezing to death and having to boil water. Cruz's office also requested that the Houston Police Department assist the senator during his departure from Bush International Airport Wednesday. Houston Police Chief Art, so he's tying up state resources for his little vacation as well. So not only did he go down there, went down there to take his kids on a vacation, while people are freezing to death, having to boil water while their electricity's shot due to the Republican administration's degradation of their electricity system and their infrastructure. Not only that, but then he tied up state resources for his return from his little vacation. Can't boil water with no gas, which is even fucking worse. Congress is not in session this week following the President's Day holiday. Cruz, who was retweeting notices about electricity in Texas Governor Greg Abbott on Wednesday, has been silent on social media Thursday. In a radio interview Monday, Cruz told people to stay home and not risk it. Keep your family safe and just stay home and hug your kids. As an official elected to federal office, Cruz doesn't have an on-the-ground role in response to the storm, but natural disasters are often a time in which constituents often reach out to their elected officials for help and access to resources. Okay, I saw somebody in chat earlier saying, well, it's not Ted Cruz's job, it's the governor's job. At the end of the day, Ted Cruz is a voice that people will listen to because he's an elected official, and he can help tie resources together. He's an important official. He's supposed to be there to represent his community, but then when his community's in crisis, he takes a vacation. Senators are able to do a whole hell of a lot. Chat is right. Sorry, chat, you can't really see your messages because your white background, so I'll just take you off. So the excuse is being made for Ted when even he had to come out and say this was the wrong decision, and this wasn't even a pre-planned trip. This is something that he made the decision to do during the crisis. Not to mention, Beto, you're right, Beto's not even elected, and he's this evil liberal coming in to destroy Texas with his evil anti-gun rhetoric or whatever, and he's actually doing more to help the people of Texas through his organizing than Ted Cruz is, and he's the elected official. That is how you actually know who you should pick to be senators and congress people. Are they there when you needed them most, even when they weren't in office? Were they on the ground doing the legwork? Yeah, it was last minute, and I did see the text. Apparently, if somebody could link the text and chat again, I would appreciate it. Apparently, and the reason why we know this was not pre-planned is because they made a of-the-moment decision, a spur-of-the-moment decision, because of texts that have been confirmed by credible news sources online. So, again, he didn't make this decision months in advance and decided not to cancel it. He made this decision as a spur-of-the-moment decision during the crisis. He saw what was going on. He saw people were dying, freezing, without water, without electricity, and then made the wise choice to get on a plane and head out of there. And again, any other time that Texas decided he'd want to leave the state of Texas, I'd advocate personally for it to be permanently, as long as he doesn't come to Maryland. I'd be fine with it. You can go there, leave government, in effect. Keep going. Just keep going, never come back. But not a good time to do it. Crises, when a crisis happens, is when you determine when someone is a good leader. Remember, this is a man who ran for president. Do you think somebody that when the pressure gets hot, when it gets hot, and by it getting cold, you know, when pressure is put on his back, he decides to just take a spur of the moment vacation? This is the type of man who wanted to be president, who, if he got his way in 2016, would have been president during the coronavirus pandemic. Do you think he would have handled that crisis well? Or do you think he would have been just like Trump, taking vacations and golfing when people were starving? If he can't deal with the role given to him during a crisis as a senator, how the hell was he going to do it as president if he had to take vacations to get away from it all during this? Yeah, of course, and more evidence that he said it was a spur of the moment decision is because this was done after his girls said school was canceled. So again, more evidence of it being a spur of the moment decision. It was completely spur of the moment. This wasn't something pre-planned. He admitted it on camera. That's a good point. This guy was born in Canada, while a lot of these people were born in Texas. And the guy from Canada can't handle the cold trying to help people. And can't help people through the cold. Has to go to Cancun to get away from it all. Look, I was born and raised in Maryland. And you know, Maryland has a lot of diverse weather. We got the heat during the summer, we got the cold during the winter, and we got those storms. We have it all. But it surely was never as cold as it was in Canada. But I think even I would be sensible enough, if I was a senator, not to be fleeing during a crisis. I think basically 95% of sensible people would make the same decision. Again, my position is back. My NAFTA Ted Cruz position. I believe we should renegotiate NAFTA one more time. And during that renegotiation, Ted Cruz should be entered into the NAFTA agreement. And that every few years, he needs to be filtered through the different countries that are part of NAFTA. He was part of he was part of Canada. Now he's part of America. I think it's time to give Mexico a shot with Ted Cruz. I think this needs to be a burden that all of North America takes upon itself. We need to share the burden. That's unfair to Mexico? Look, we have dealt with Ted the vast majority of his life. I think it is time that Mexico pulled its fair share when it comes to the Ted Cruz issue. It's time. This is, look, look. We need to send a cruise missile to Mexico. And when I say that, I don't mean the actual missile. I mean fire Ted Cruz out of a cannon into Mexico and let them get the next 5 to 10 years of it. That's my cruise missile. Well, that's not TOS. It's a play on words. Come on. It's a cruise missile, get it? Haha. Haha. Anyway. Ted missile. Ted missile. Anyway, let's read this. Text messages sent from Mr. Cruz to friends and Houston neighbors on Wednesday revealed a hastily planned trip. Their house was freezing, as Mrs. Cruz put it, and she proposed a Sunday return. Miss Cruz invited others to join them at the Ritz-Carlton in Cancun, where the Ritz-Carlton, damn, where they had stayed many times, noting the room price this week of $309 per night, and its good security. The text messages were provided to the New York Times and confirmed by a second person on the thread, who declined to be identified because of the private nature of the texts. The beans have been spilled. Let me just play this one more time. His explanation.
Whether the decision to go was tone deaf, look, it was obviously a mistake, and in hindsight, I wouldn't have done it. I was trying to be a dad. And all of us have made decisions. When you've got two girls who've been cold for two days and haven't had heater power, and they're saying, hey, look, we don't have school. Why don't we go? Let's get out of here. Whether the decision to go was tone deaf, look, it was obviously a mistake. And in hindsight, I wouldn't have done it. I was trying to be a dad. And all of us have made decisions. When you've got two girls who've been cold.
I mean, you're trying to be a dad, but all you taught your children was how to be irresponsible with power. Okay. As of an official elected to federal office, Cruz doesn't have an on-the-ground role in the response to the storm, but the blame for the outages has only been placed on the Electric Reliability Council of Texas, ERCOT. Abbott said Wednesday afternoon that he spoke with both the lieutenant governor and the state speaker, and an investigation of ERCOT is slated to begin next week. But in the meantime, millions of Texans were left without power, running water in the wake of the storm. Power slowly being restored to homes. Since last Thursday, 16 Texans, so it's not 12, it's 16, have died due to the extreme weather. Thanks, Ted. Is there a little video here we can watch? Thanks, CNN.
Despite his fellow Texans suffering, freezing, going hungry, some of them even dying, Senator Ted Cruz last night flew to Cancun, Mexico for a family vacation. There were pictures of him at the airport and on the plane that popped up on social media. And moments ago, he confirmed that was him. He felt he needed to trade the prickly cactus of his recorded podcast for the inviting palm trees of the Yucatan Peninsula, apparently in the middle of a crisis, a disaster of historic proportions. And what makes this even worse is that Cruz used police resources in the middle of said crisis to make his way to the Sky Zone. Houston police confirming moments ago that Cruz's staff requested assistance to get him to the airport. Now, the irony here is thick because one of Cruz's re-election selling points in 2018 was that he helped Texans during the Harvey disaster.
When disaster struck, Texans came together, helping each other, everyone doing their part. Like Ted Cruz, who brought home billions in disaster relief and passed emergency tax relief for those hit by Hurricane Harvey.
No official, state or federal, has been more involved in the recovery of Galveston County than Senator Ted Cruz.
When the hurricane hit, you stood up for Texas, and Ted Cruz stood up for you.
I'm Ted Cruz, and I approve this message.
But now Cruz is not up for re-election. He is abandoning his state. It's Bon Voyage, MTV, spring break style, where in Cancun the temperature is a lovely 85 degrees, but in the city that he flew from, home to the people that he serves, it's near freezing there. Of course, Cruz has already proven he's not too sentimental.
Can you guys not... Why is it... Oh, no, never mind.
When it comes to those who are suffering through disasters, but normally it's other states. When heat waves caused massive power outages last year in California, Ted Cruz mocked the blue state after the governor called on folks to conserve energy. Quote, California is now unable to perform even basic functions of civilization, like having reliable electricity. Democrats want to make California's failed energy policy the standard nationwide. Hope you don't like air conditioning. Now, when called out on his cruelty, this tweet a couple days ago, Cruz said that he has no defense, and he did the Twitter equivalent of a shrug. Not good, he said, about what was going on in his state. Stay safe, he added. Well, and that brings us to his statement, Lisa, because a short time ago, the senator responded with one. He said, with school canceled for the week, our girls asked to take a trip with friends. Wanting to be a good dad, I flew down with them last night and am flying back this afternoon. My staff and I are in constant communication with state and local leaders to get to the bottom of what happened in Texas. My team and I will continue using all our resources to keep Texans informed and safe. Look, we've seen his wife in the pictures, but it seems like maybe he's insinuating that this was his plan to drop his daughters in Mexico. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, it's a sorry excuse. I mean, if you're trying to set an example, as Anna said, you should be setting example as a leader for your state.
Blame my children.
For your children as well, showing them that you're doing your job and you are representing Texans and trying to help in any way you can. No, he can't fix the problem directly. This is largely a state issue, not a federal issue. But yeah, we need his presence. We need for him to be advocating on behalf of Texans. And here in Texas, the headline went from Lion Ted to Flying Ted. He's already had, newspapers in his home state calling for his resignation over his part in the Capitol riot. And coming on the wake of that, it's unbelievable because Ted Cruz is usually nothing but calculated. And this is a very poor calculation, very callous.
Look, I swear I was just dropping my kids off to Cancun and flying with them. The thing that gets me,
former President Trump,
is his defense literally is, which I don't even 100% believe, his defense is, look, guys, I was just sending my children on vacation, and that's why I wasn't in the state when over 16 people have died from freezing to death. And mocked other states for having crises similar to mine. So his best excuse he can come up with, by the way, let's be fair, he said that there were other people going and they wanted to It's already been proved by text messages and other stuff that this was a hastily prepared travel. This wasn't like something he decided months ago. This wasn't pre-planned. He made this decision the day of, or the few days leading up to it. And then had to tie up local resources to return because his staff requested a police presence when he returned. Because he knew people were going to be pissed that he abandoned them during a crisis. And this was the guy who wanted to be president in 2016. He wanted to be president in 2016. And in the first sign of a crisis, he literally leaves the country. Not only did he leave his state, he left the whole fucking country. Look, again, I'll say this for the millionth time and the last time. If Ted Cruz wants to leave Texas or America permanently, that's fine by me. Next time he should go to Cancun and stay there. But not during a crisis. And this is the same guy who wanted to be president. What? Trust me, when COVID hit our shores, was he going to go to the Bahamas? What about Greenland, Iceland? Vienna, maybe? Hell, maybe he'll go to fucking New Zealand, check out the natural wildlife. This is the guy who wanted to be president. And he can't even handle a crisis from the stance of a senator, whose main job there is going to be to help gather resources, get resources for people, and be a voice to help people. And Beto O'Rourke, who isn't even elected, is doing more than he is. And this is the guy who wanted to be president of the United States. Look, I got Ted Cruz's next catchphrase. When he runs in 2024, I got the byline for his campaign. Ted Cruz didn't stand up for his wife, didn't stand up for Texas. There you go. There's his new campaign slogan. Do you think this time he would stand up for America in 2024? No. No, he wouldn't.